How do you develop an MSP marketing budget? What goes into it? What do you need to be aware of? Where do you allocate your funds to really get the best investment? And we are covering all of that in today's video. Now, if you are a new MSP, don't worry. This is really important because you're going to need to know it as you progressively grow and scale your MSP business. And if you're already an established MSP, hey, maybe it's time to take a look at the hard numbers and see where there's opportunities, where you might have gone right, where you might have gone wrong. My name is Harrison Barron from growth-generators.com. We help MSPs grow, whether that's sales training, marketing, or even business operations. And we have been super fortunate. You guys are reaching out literally like crazy. And a lot of you guys have said, Harrison, how do I either work with you or how do we get a hold of you? And there's kind of three great ways, right? You could visit us online, growth-generators.com, easiest one. 2, you can hang out with us in the free Discord, growth-generators.com/Discord. At the time of making this video, I'm actually quite curious. At the time of making this video, we are at almost 800 members. Absolutely mind-blowing. And hey, if you're somebody that wants a little bit extra support growing and going through your MSP journey, we do have a program and a membership called MSP Heroes. There is a link down below. I'd check it out. It is $7 for 7 days. It is absolutely well worth it. Just to come in, pop in, say hi. If it's for you, great. If it's not for you, don't worry about it. Just let us know. We're happy to cancel your membership. So let's talk about actually building a MSP marketing budget. Now, before we even go through that, we have to understand why MSPs need a marketing budget. And you're probably like, Harrison, because we want more leads, because ultimately leads make money. But truly, well, that is 100% true. But there's a lot that goes into a MSP marketing budget, right? First is you have to know that you are going to be spending money. There's really no ifs, ands, or buts about it. And a lot of MSP marketing, believe it or not, and this can be a little frightening for some people, you have to understand that especially in the beginning, you're lighting the money on fire, because depending on where you're at, if you're doing it yourself, you're going to pay for the knowledge, both taking classes online or through somebody, and also actually running those ads and seeing how they return based on what you're currently spending. But you have to make sure that you set aside a budget that you're comfortable with. And we're going to talk about tracking those ads and tracking those leads to really see what they can turn into later on in this video. So you're not going to want to miss the entire thing. But it's important because with a good marketing budget and with a good marketing strategy, you can have a huge ROI, return on investment. Because in the MSP world, a new client will typically stick around on average for 7 years. So one new client is massively valuable to your MSP. So let's go through and talk about a marketing budget. We have to come up with some kind of marketing budget for this. And the first thing we have to do is understand where we're allocating that budget. Now, there's 3 main categories that you can allocate your marketing budget, right? Lead generation, bring leads in. And you're probably thinking, Harrison, what else would I ever spend my money on? Hear me out here. They're important. Number 2 is going to be brand awareness. You might want other people, other businesses in the area to know that you exist. It is really, really important. And 3, you probably see this all day, every day. It is called client recognition and client retention. Your clients want to see, believe it or not, your brand. Every single thing has a brand on it, from the shirt that I'm wearing to the mason jar that I'm drinking out of from Ball Mason Jars. But these are brands. They are constantly remarketing and helping retain that client. That's really, really important as time goes on. You want to make sure that you can stay in front of your existing customers. You can stay in front of potentially new customers, and you're converting prospects into leads through lead generation. So let's talk about how to set what are called SMART goals. And I wrote this down because I never remember, and I will leave a little breakdown below. But it is SMART goals is an acronym for specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time bound. And every single marketing budget that you develop is going to fall into all 5 of those categories, right? Who are you specifically targeting? What are you measuring? What are you achieving by targeting those people? Is it relevant to those people? And what is the time limit or the time bound to that? Is it a month, 3 months, 6 months, 1 year? You have to know all of those. And while they're not KPIs, key performance indicators, it's still important to know, hey, we're launching this campaign. What specific about this is good for us? What can we measure out of this? What's achievable? Because sometimes you might say, well, I want to put in $1 and make $1,000. I hate to break it to you, but it's probably not going to happen. So where do we actually allocate this budget, right? Because we understand our marketing goals. We understand how to align now with it. But how do we actually get to a marketing or where do we allocate our hard-earned money so we can get that investment back, hopefully, and then significantly more on top of that, right? So there are, I don't want to say 5 areas because there's a bunch of different areas, but there's kind of 5 main areas that you can invest that money. Number 1, content creation. Whether you are writing the blogs, the videos, the white papers, whatever it might be, content creation is huge. And if you're not comfortable doing content creation, you might want to outsource it, or you might want to find someone that you can bring in-house to do the content creation for you. And the first and best place to do that, in my opinion, is blogs. And if you're really ambitious, you can go through video and you can go through podcasts and all of that content we've talked about. Number 2 is going to be digital advertising. It's just the name of the game. I know this might contradict some people. If it's not digital, it's probably dead already. It has to be digital. It has to be trackable. We need to know where it's coming from. We are tech people. We need to see where they came in from, how they converted, the drip campaign associated with it. Get rid of the penny saver. Get rid of the local ads. Depending on where you are, in some cases, super rare, it's probably not the worst idea to advertise on paper. But for the most part, we want to spend most of our money on digital. Next is going to be SEO and website optimization. Now, I talked about blogs already, but there's a lot of different ways that SEO plays a role. It could be getting inbound backlinks. It could be publications out in the world. There are so many different ways that you could go through SEO and website optimization. And also, not just getting traffic, but converting the traffic that actually comes to your website is wildly important. If you're not capturing that, let's say an okay website has a 0.5% capture rate, right? That means you're going to get out of 200 people, 1 form. That's fine. You now know that you need to scale and get more traffic to get more leads or convert at a higher rate. So from a 0.5% to a 1% or to a 1.5%. So you're getting 1 contact form for every 100 or 3 contact forms for every 200. I know, crazy numbers, but it is super, super important. Next is going to be email marketing. Now, this is usually the cheapest one, but if you're going in cold, which I don't recommend, but a lot of you guys like cold emailing. You can cold email, but you have to set up another domain, you have to set up another email, and you also have to set up a cold emailing platform. These are really, really important. That way you can actually go send it. So there is a cost associated with that marketing budget. It might be lower, but it's still important. And last but not least, one of my favorites, events and networking. For somebody that doesn't leave the house much anymore, I love bumping shoulders and rubbing elbows. I love going to events and I love networking. It is the best. I crush it in large rooms with people. I will go talk to everybody. I'm going to leave with smiles on my face. I'm going to leave them with smiles on their face. And I'm going to leave with a stack of cards. No matter what, I'm coming home with a stack of cards and I'm following up with everybody I met, no matter what, at the end of it. So it's really important. Those are probably the 5 main areas that you can allocate a budget, because even going to networking, your BNIs and your lit tips are not the cheapest. You can go to your local chamber of commerce. That's going to be a few $100s per year. You can do Rotary. There's so many options out there. And hey, sometimes there's just paid networking events that exist. Attend those. Those do cost money, and that is part of your marketing budget. So now that we've talked about where we can spend money, how to kind of build a budget based on what we want, let's start talking about the ROI of the marketing channels, your return on investment, the money that you're spending that is going to hopefully go out and then at some point make its way back in. We need to track this. No matter what, you have to have good data. Marketing, just like programming and a lot of what we do in the MSP world, is garbage in, garbage out. If you don't have great data coming in, you're not going to have good data going out for you to make good business decisions that are going to leave the business. You have to make sure that what you're doing, what you're tracking, and what you consider good is really important. It's your return on investment. Keep in mind too, there is a time investment involved in there. But as you begin to go through maybe one or multiple of these 5 channels, depending on how aggressive you want to get, you have to be able to see, hey, this is working out better. I should go spend more money in this area. That's going to help you tremendously as you begin to grow your MSP, because you're going to say, hey, maybe you're not the best at running ads. Maybe you're not the best with blogging, but you're really good at converting your visitors on your website, whatever it may be, right? Maybe you can't stand the idea of going and networking. I totally get it. You're going to take that budget and start allocating in other areas where hopefully you're seeing better success in that. And that's where you're going to address and adjust your marketing spend. Now, there are tons of tools out there. You don't need a lot of them. Most of the heavy hitters out there, HubSpot is probably one of the best, although to get the good data, you need to have at least the pro version of marketing on your HubSpot platform. Go High Level is pretty decent with those numbers. You can also get Salesforce. Salesforce isn't particularly a marketing platform, but it does have Pardot, which does do a lot of that marketing. But you have ActiveCampaign. You have so many of these other areas that you could track and get good data out of. And there are some softwares that'll basically dump out and say, hey, here's all of the information. You don't need to go that crazy. There's not too many metrics, especially until you're hitting the $10+ million mark, where you really want to say this person hit this, and then they hit this, and we need to really just fine tune and adjust, and we want to have the best numbers possible. You don't really need to go that crazy unless you're getting tons and tons and tons of leads. So we've talked about the ROI. We've talked about where you're gonna invest your money, but we never actually talked about a budget. And if you've made it this far and you want to talk about a budget, you got to hit that like button, that subscribe button, notification bell. And some of you guys are animals and you're like, I'm first to comment. I love that. That literally makes my entire day. I release these videos 7 a.m. Eastern for the most part. I have a smile on my face when I see that comment, and I'm usually drinking my coffee. Sets it for the best day ever. So let's talk about having a realistic marketing budget, because a lot of people get this massively, massively wrong. You should invest. Preparing myself here because I know somebody's going to come for me in the comments or in Discord. You should invest what you feel comfortable with losing. I know that sounds crazy, but if you're new to marketing, it doesn't matter how big your MSP is. I have seen multi-million-dollar, I've worked with them, multi-million-dollar MSPs that have spent $0, I shouldn't say zero, almost $0 in marketing. They go to events, they do certain things that really don't have an expense as far as marketing goes. You should invest what you feel comfortable with. Now, what I typically recommend MSPs do, in the beginning, you don't really have any money. For the most part, you're going to want to go to your local chamber of commerce, your local networking events. That's going to be the best bang for your buck, bar none. After that, and you start to get a hang of your business, that's when you can start to invest money into marketing. I typically recommend for marketing between 10 and 20% of profit. And what that 10 and 20% do, now 20% is high, 10% is fair. You could get lost in those numbers depending on where you are. Doesn't mean you need to spend 10%. You can spend 5%, you can spend 2%. But if you made $100,000, you should take, and once again, depending on the size of your business, if you made $100,000 in business and you only brought home $20,000 or $30,000, yes, you should spend $2,000 or $3,000, and that's going to get you into a tip and B&I and pay for drinks when you're out. But if you have made $100,000 in profit for you after you've covered all of your expenses, your entire business, all of that, then you can take 10 to 20% of that money as long as you can financially afford to spend it, and invest it where you think is necessary based on those 5 categories I've already given you. And I'm not going to make you go back to the beginning of the video to watch it, although it does help my watch time if you want to do that. I love you guys. So content creation, digital advertising, SEO and website, your email marketing, and your events and networking. Those are the 5 areas that you can invest your money into or your time into. And keep in mind too, I said money or time. If you don't want to invest 10 to 20% of your money, you should invest 10 to 20% of your free time going to those events. I know it's kind of crazy, but trust me, it is worth it. And as you progressively grow and you have a little more money, start spending a little more money on marketing. See what works for your business and be careful, because if it doesn't work right off the rip, or you have a bad experience with one agency, whatever it is, don't say, it doesn't work for my business. I can't tell you how many people let a match burn them twice. They got burned once, and their fear is burning them again by not allowing them to succeed. It is the worst thing out there. You might have to try 4, 5, 6, 7 different companies. Do your homework. See what they're doing, right? What are they doing? I've made videos about how to spy on what they're doing for Facebook ads. See if they're running Google ads. See if they're doing some search engine optimization. Understand what might work for you. Invest some of your time and money learning how to do some of these things, and you don't have to go hire outsource. Or maybe you decide to bring it in-house, but find what works for you. I don't want people going out there and saying, Harrison, 10 to 20%, that's a crazy number. It's what you're comfortable with. I typically recommend that. Now, if you're really, really smart and you've made it all the way to the end of this video, and you want that prime nugget of gold, I'm always going to leave you with nuggets. As you begin to build your pricing, go through and maybe consider raising your pricing about 10%. So if you're charging $150 per seat, maybe you charge $165 per seat, and you take that $15 and you start allocating it towards your marketing budget. That way you don't have to take a hit on the bottom line, and you can progressively see that grow. There's your nugget of gold. Not going to leave you with nothing here. I mean, I try to give you guys as much as I can, but that's your nugget of gold for the day. Other than that, I love you guys. I appreciate you hanging out all the way to the end of this video. If you enjoyed this video, like, subscribe, share it with your friends, share it on LinkedIn. Heck, pull this sucker out and let your dog watch it. He can hang out with me for a little while. I appreciate it. Other than that, I'll see you guys in the next one. Have a banging Monday, and I'll see you guys later. Bye. And if you're not watching this on Monday, I hope you have the best day. But this is releasing on a Monday. Bye.